Soldiers are always trying to find ways to kind of sham, kind of get out of some work type of thing. And we've got two examples of ways that I was able to kind of weasel my way out of some things, and I want to share those with you today. What's up, my friends? US Army veteran Christopher Chaos, and today we're doing a little bit more of a, more of a casual kind of video, not necessarily going super in depth with explaining something, but more of a story time type of thing, and explaining a couple of different ways that me personally, I was able to maybe get out of a few crappy details, a few things that I didn't really want to do, and I guess kind of sham out, as we like to call it in the Army. Now, I don't really recommend trying to find, bad ways to sham out, trying to make up excuses, making up fake appointments, nothing like that. But if you can do legitimate ways of shamming out of something, then I encourage that. And I feel like these were legitimate ways to kind of get out of something you didn't really want to do, and maybe it'll be helpful to you. Of course, if you do want more of those, in-depth explanations or some of these casual types of videos like this, well, then make sure you're joining the Chaos Army by hitting that subscribe button. Also, click on that bell so you get alerts as soon as new videos go live, to include live streams, and become part of the awesome notification platoon. So I've got two different ways that I was able to utilize the system. First way, number one, probably the more common one, I think, for more people, that may be a little bit easier to access compared to the second one that I'll give inside of here, and I only really got two. But the first one was because I had a bus license. Commonly, your 88 mics might have a chance to get a bus license, but there's other individuals that might end up getting a bus driver's license as well. It just kind of, depends on who's needed and where that's available and who can get so. But I had a bus driver's license, and so if they needed someone to drive a bus, to drive soldiers around, I was the go-to guy in a couple of my units, because in those units, I was the licensed bus driver. I had this in Kansas in my first unit, and then I had it again at would have been my third unit when I was in 30 ACR for a little bit during my time in the 30 ACR. And the way it got me out of stuff was, some good examples were road marches, right? We needed to get the soldiers out to the training area where we're gonna do the road march at. And some units might, road march out to the training area kind of a thing, but if it's too far away and they want you to start in a certain area so that way they're covering a certain part of the ground for the road march, well, then you have to bust them out there, or sometimes you just throw in a bunch of LMTVs kind of a thing. But if you have the opportunity to throw them in a bus, it's usually more convenient. So they need someone to drive that bus, and for safety reasons, most of the time, they would usually not have the bus driver also participate in the road march, because they don't want to take the chance that that bus driver gets injured during the road march, and now who the hell's gonna drive the bus back? So I hung out on the bus and kicked back, relaxed, took a little nap while they were all out there doing this road march. That happened a couple of times. There was a couple of times where that happened, where we did road marches. I like doing road marches, so I really didn't have a problem doing road marches, but still, nonetheless, it was kind of fun to sham out kind of a thing. But yeah, they'd be out on these road marches, and I'd just be driving the bus. Other kind of scenarios that worked pretty good with that was in the field, because you'd be out in the field, and occasionally with certain field problems, they would still allow soldiers to go back for appointments. Like a key one was like when I was in Fort Riley in Kansas and we were doing gunnery. And you had soldiers that still had appointments, but they still wanted them out in the field. So you'd be out in the field, but we would have a bus that would go out every morning to go back to the rear, spend a few hours, whatever it was, back in the rear, and then drive the bus back to get people back out to the field when their appointments are done. So I was driving the bus for that. So what that allowed me to do was, I got out of a little bit of the training because I would be driving the bus back. I didn't have an appointment, so I had nothing better to do. So I would go to Burger King, get something to eat, chill out on the bus, take a nap, whatever I wanted to do until it was time, the set time that we kind of had, to be able to take the soldiers back out to the field for gunnery. There's a couple other times too with the field that worked out pretty good too. I even did like an NTC where I was, picking up soldiers from the railhead area, so they would drive the trucks down the tank trails. I would take just the freeway, and I would meet them over at the railhead. And so after they would drop the trucks off, they would get back on my bus. I would drive them back up to the National Training Center area to go do another run or whatever they're gonna do, and then I would drive back down to pick up another crew. So that was pretty sham and pretty chill kind of a thing, because I wasn't having to be busy, with the trucks and loading them on the railhead or anything else like that. I just had to drive the 30 minutes down to the railhead thing, wait for the soldiers to be done loading up the vehicles, and then load them back onto the bus, and then take them back up to the National Training Center area. So the bus driver one is a pretty good one, and it's usually available to a lot of people. My second one may not be available to everyone, but maybe there's different ways that you could apply that. Second way was my video production interest. I had a interest in videos ever since pretty much my second duty station. It was when I was in Korea that I got interested in creating videos and video production, because I got some just handheld mini DV tape type of camcorder because I wanted to record stuff that was going on in Korea so I could show my family back home type of thing. And that's when I started developing a kind of interest in wanting to like edit video and get creative and create things. So I continued doing that for, a while, and then with that skills that I kind of started to learn, and I had, some decent camera equipment over the years of kind of building that up, I was able to kind of sometimes do like activities stuff to be able to record activities that units were doing. So a couple of ones that we did, like the first one that I think I was able to kind of get out of some training because of my video production skills was we had an obstacle course coming up, and some people may have fun doing an obstacle course. It's okay, I guess, doing an obstacle course, and it looked like people were having fun, but I had mentioned to, I think the first sergeant, I think it was, that, hey, we could do a really cool high-speed video of the unit, and I can download it onto a disc, and people can get a copy of it or whatever the case is, and we can do a cool video of the unit going through and doing the obstacle course. So I did that. I was able to get out of doing the obstacle course because I was walking around the whole obstacle course just filming, recording video of everybody doing the obstacles and everything, and some of them looked difficult, some of them looked like they were fun probably too, and it's probably still exhausting nonetheless, but I was able to get out of doing the obstacle course by recording it. That video is actually still on YouTube. I don't remember if it's on this channel or on a different channel, but if you were to like Google search or YouTube search Jack's Valley, Colorado, I think it is, something like that, you probably would find my video on there, and it's got like this cool little rock version of like the warrior ethos and stuff, the soldier ethos, whatever, and it's got all the soldiers going through the obstacle course, and you can probably find it through there. The other one was, there was a couple times, maybe once or twice, where we were doing sports week, and that's the thing that you commonly do sometimes in units, especially like on Fort Carson. They have IV week, where they just spend a whole week doing sports, and our units told us we had to do something, right? You had to volunteer for some kind of sport. You couldn't just watch the sports. You could watch some of them, but you had to participate in, I think, at least one or two of the sports. Again, I offered up my services like, hey, I can go around to all the locations where we have soldiers playing sports, and I can record them and put it together into a little video montage for everybody to enjoy, and they loved the idea. So instead of having to play sports, because I personally am just not a person that likes sports. I mean, I like watching some sports, I like watching MMA, I like watching some football games and stuff, but I'm not really the type of person that really wants to participate in sports. I'm not really a sporty kind of person. So that was my way of getting out of having to play a sport. I think the times when I did have to actually participate, like in Ivy Week and Sports Week, I usually do something like Ultimate Frisbee or something that wasn't, too crazy, because I wasn't very good at sports. So, it was horrible to have me on your team, probably, kind of a thing. But I could do okay at Ultimate Frisbee, right? The Frisbee's floating through the air, right? I don't have to really rely on catching a football or, making a basket into a hoop or hitting a baseball or kind of a thing. So Ultimate Frisbee felt like a little bit easier of a one. But yeah, I just went around recording everybody, put it together into a video. That one, I'm pretty sure that one's not on the internet. I don't think I put that on the internet. I think that was more of just a thing where I had it saved, and then if people wanted it, then I was able to get it to them, and they could bring in like their laptop or something like that, and they were able to get it off a thumb drive or something like that. So I was able to get out of Sports Week, I think once or twice that way. That one, of course, like I said, is a little bit more rare because not all of you out there probably have an interest in wanting to create video, but maybe you should build one. Maybe it's just for that purpose. I don't know. But there might be other ways that kind of applies to. There could be other things. Maybe you're a handy person, and maybe being handy can get you out of certain things because they need you to go to fix some stuff, and then you don't have to go do this training because you're gonna be busy fixing this, or I don't know, maybe there's other ways that you can kind of find a way that you can use your interest, your skill to get out of some kind of training thing. Again, I don't encourage like purposely trying to get out of training by like making something up, but if you can utilize it like in I feel like a legitimate way, then sure, go for it. I feel like these are both legitimate ways. One, I'm a bus driver, I'm providing a service still to the unit, I'm still driving the bus to get the soldiers to where they got to go to training. And the second way, was creating some cool videos for people. Yeah, if you're making up excuses like you're like, oh, I don't feel so good, or oh, I got an appointment, and you don't really have an appointment, then yeah, that's not good ways to be trying to get out of training to just for that kind of a sake and making stuff up. But if you have something a legitimate way, sure, utilize that. I'd love to hear from like you guys if there's something like a way that you have found a way to kind of cheat the system and kind of sham out. I want to hear about those down in the comment section down below, because I'm sure there's other ways you could probably sham out of something and kind of get away with it, and maybe some other soldiers want to find some good legitimate ways rather than finding the bad ways to get out of something. So comment that stuff down below. Now, occasionally people, will give me crap a little bit for being an 88 mic, you're a pogue, I guess, kind of a thing, right? But there was one time that I went on a raid, and if you would like to see a video about that and make your own determination if you think it really qualifies as a raid, well then check this video out right here. If you want to see my latest upload, check out this one right there. Check out links down in the description box down below. I'm Christopher Chaos, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. See ya.